Welcome in, guys. Day 10. We're drawing frogs today. Super complex compared to the things we've been drawing in the past. There's multiple articulations to a frog. They have shoulders, they have elbows, they have wrists, they have legs, they have all these things. Their heads move around in really cool ways. They're, maybe not as complex as an octopus, but up there. When we're constructing these, we want to continue to think about these simplified forms. So the arms, the arms are kind of like these cylinders that connect like this, and they have pretty similar arms to people, to be honest. Their hands are obviously different. Their hands kind of have like a webbing to them, um, and they have kind of like these big circles at the end of their fingers, like this, right? They kind of have like this kind of a hand instead, and their fingers have like these suction cups to them that they can kind of grip stuff with, and they can spread out really wide. And they can tighten up. So, but other than that, though, they have these really cool kind of muscles in their arms and in their legs. That's why people eat frog legs, because they're actually full with muscle. Um, but when we're drawing these arms, we want to think about it in that way. We want to think about these as these, uh, these cylinders, and they're really similar to, if you did the figure drawing course, the forearm is really similar to a human's arm. It's just that the bend is a little different on the, like at the actual elbow. They have really similar musculature. They have like this underhang on the forearm, and then the wrist comes to like a more squared off shape, and then the hand kind of comes out of there. So we're going to draw some frogs here. And like we did before, we're going to draw it inside of kind of a rectangular shape. And we're going to just think about the frog as this thing that's, inside this shape. And the reason we're doing that is because it helps us see it all three-dimensionally, right? Let's imagine this goes up like this. Okay. And now imagine this frog is sitting in there, and so that means that the face, right, is going to be somewhere directly in the center of this, right? Along the center line of this kind of front plane right here. This is facing this way, right? Like that. And so when we're constructing this, right, we can kind of think about, okay, think about how the frog sits. Well, the butt is always lower to the ground because they can jump, so their feet are lower to the ground, and they kind of use their hands to sit up and look around, right? And that's kind of how I think about things. I think about, like, when I try to imagine it in my mind, I don't just think the image of a frog. I try to think of, what is the frog doing? What are its arms doing? And I almost think about myself as kind of like taking on the habit or the shape of the frog. How does the arm look? How does the bend happen? What's the angle of the bend? And I use my own body actually when I draw animals and people to kind of just think about what position it is and where things are in space. So if we have the hands down here, let's say the fingertips are just lining up with this line in the front here, right? And that means that the head is probably going to be just slightly back from that because the hands are kind of sticking forward. Maybe it's directly above actually though. And what we're going to do is we're going to find the head like somewhere in here just by drawing kind of like an oval shape and thinking of the jaw and the skull coming back like this, like that. All right, and it has like this, let's see, it has this three-dimensional kind of snout in the front, right? You just draw a square, and we're at this angle right here with this line here. Remember the parallels, right? This parallel line here, parallel to this, right? We're using that parallel line from down here to draw the head, and then the back of the head goes back like this, and then you have the eyes. The eyes are going to be, they're kind of like, what I think of, it's kind of like the octopus. They're not directly connected, but it's kind of like a Coke can, right? A Coke can is just a cylinder, and it connects like this, right? And the eyes are in the front like this, so you have the eye like this, and then the other eye's over here. And then you kind of lower it down for the head because this part of the Coke can isn't actually there on a frog. The eyes kind of bulge out of the head like this on both sides. And so this eye you wouldn't really even be able to see on this side, and then the head kind of just shoots forward from there like that. Right, so you're just drawing a cylinder to connect the eyes because what are we doing again, guys? We're doing parallel lines. Parallel line here, parallel line connecting the eyes. So we have this eye right here, And frogs kind of have like a squintiness to them. That's kind of why they get depicted in certain ways when they get anthropomorphized. And then there's the other eye in the back, and it's going to be on the other side of the head over here. So there's an overlap like that. Maybe a little glint on the eye there. Nostril, like that. And then maybe there's some patterning going on this one. Let's see. So top of the mouth there. Then you have the bottom plane of the chin. All right, that's going to be calling on some of the things we've drawn before, like the cactus, right? The cactus at the angle of that little sliver, right? That's what we just drew right there. Remember that we drew the cactus like this? Well, you just rotate that around, you have a little thin uh, piece of material, and that's the bottom of the jaw. Okay, and then you're going to go like this. You're going to connect this. There's a little patterning happening here. I always imagined frogs have kind of like, they makes them look like they're poisonous or something. Back of the head comes back here, and then you have the body. All right, the body connects to the head in a very interesting way because it's kind of like this large, it's hard to say exactly what it looks like, but it's like this large amorphous shape. And it connects off the bottom of the neck and goes under like this, right? It's kind of like a football, okay? And it's a football that comes right out of the head. So you draw that back like that, and then you find a center line because we know that there's going to be, we're looking at the top of this right here, like this, right? Look at the top of the frog right here. And then down here, we're going to have a hip. Let's draw a circle for the hip. Draw a circle down here for the knee. Connect it. And then we're going to draw another circle down here for the back of the leg. And then the back legs are even much larger actually than the front legs. And this comes back again. It's like a double band going back into the feet. Like I drew up there. They have these weird kind of suction cup things like that. Right, now we have a leg. Like it looks like a spring. Right, it has this kind of quality where um, it shoots forward, it goes back, and then it comes back again, right? It has this kind of springy quality where it's like doing this kind of a thing, right? Makes sense because it's able to jump so far as frogs do, right? As we know. All right, extending the patterning down here like this. Maybe there's a little glint right here, a little shine because it's kind of slimy. A little shine right here on the knee. And then shoulder joint. Shoulder joint is going to be below the eyes, below at this angle especially. The shoulder though is right below the corner of the chin, corner of the jaw. I mean, right here in the corner of the jaw. And so the ear is somewhere in here, and then right below that is the shoulder socket, and then the shoulder muscle kind of comes out of there. All right, and then you have the forearm, and just like we drew up here, we have this kind of human-looking arm. Believe it or not, it's quite human-looking. Right, and what is it? Well, it's a cylinder, and at the end, it turns into a box. Right, like this. Right. And so all we have to do is draw that roundness to it, and then pop a hand in there, like this. It's very similar to a human hand, except for the fingers are much longer, and they have kind of like a cool circle at the very tip. And try to give a little bit of width too on those, and see how I kind of lined it up perfectly there with that line that I started out originally. Maybe it goes a little further, just because to fit it. And then the other arm directly across from here, right? We can't see it. The shoulder is going to be coming out. The arm is going to be coming down. Look at the elbow here. Draw a parallel line like this, right? Parallel line. There's the elbow's right back there behind this bicep area. This comes forward like so, and then boom, we can draw the hand, the gesture of the hand doing this. Parallel line from this tip to this. Remember, we just drew this. Extended further, so this one's going to extend further too. Right, always checking back our parallel lines. This is key, guys. Like I'm going to say this in every single video. The parallel line is your friend when you're drawing a symmetrical creature, and just having things lined up within this kind of box, like this, right? Your verticals are vertical, your diagonals are diagonal, and they're parallel. Okay. All right, then we can do more spots on this thing. All right, we're not going to spend too much time rendering this thing out. We have the frog pretty much done. The other leg, right, parallel line here, you're probably gonna see a little butt right here, a little piece of it sticking out. I'm not sure how useful it is for our drawing. It might look like something else, like a wart or something. So don't really need the other leg. Okay, then we have some shading underneath, some rounding, center line there, some rounding here. All right, there we go. We have a frog, right? And you can see when we look at this, right? Look at the simplified shapes that I drew in the face. Look at the jaw, right? Remember I talked about the bottom jaw? That's what it is, right? And so if the mouth were to be open, right, we draw that square again. There's the head, comes down like this, and then take that same kind of a flap, keep the line parallel again. Sorry, I'm not even doing parallel. And then now you have this kind of a thing. All right, now you have the mouth open. And then the tongue would be in here somewhere and the tongue would fly out and catch something, right? Let me just get rid of that so we don't have it cluttering up our drawing. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna move it over now. We're gonna draw some more. We have our base frog though, which is looking pretty cool. Let's do one of a frog straight on. And again, like I was saying, imagine in your mind what the frog is doing, okay? Now, when I think of the next frog, what I'm thinking of is a lot of times frogs, they hang out in plants, in like long grass, in leaves and trees and things above, right above the water, above the marsh. And so what I'll do for a lot of these drawings is I'll start out by drawing the base thing that it's kind of sitting on. Like imagine this is like a little plant here, like a flower or something, and it's got like this kind of, you know, I don't know, just it's got something going on right here, right? There's a little thing. And the frog, right, is going to be sitting on top of this plant, like it's sitting on the butt of a flower bud that hasn't quite opened yet, right? Something like that. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's sitting on top of something. Down the center, across the top, and then angles for the overall kind of width and shape of this thing. It's all going to be, the whole frog is going to be sitting inside here, okay? Now, like we were doing before, we have the Coke can for the eyes, right? Going across parallel. Here's the other one. You can draw in some details for the eyes, a little glint right there. And you can see the face starting to really appear, right? Already. Put some noses, some nostrils on it right here. And then it's got kind of this sad, kind of bored looking face on it. This expression is kind of like, you know, just kind of waiting, hanging out. Right, and we're looking straight at the frog now. You can see it appearing. All right, and the head is mostly a rectangle like this. All right, maybe those lines are a little much, but it's okay. Okay, then we go down into the neck. And then the neck kind of falls into the belly down here. The belly is kind of like this big old, right, this thing kind of, I don't know if it's a toad or what, but I imagine this mouth can kind of open up and do that like thing, you know? All right, well, now we give it some arms, kind of human cylindrical arms like we did before. All right, not too sure where it's going yet, but here's the arms. And then the hands, let's say we have one here, they're gonna have overlapping hands. Like this. One finger kind of coming up here. One big old finger down here. Like this. And the other hand like this, gripping onto this surface. This other finger goes underneath, this one goes underneath. So. And then we have the back legs coming up like this. Right? Sticking out from the sides. Ready to jump. And then the feet kind of gripping on like this on the side. Knuckles here. All right, and this part we're just kind of making up just kind of S-curves and things to draw it because I'm not really sure what it looks like. It doesn't really matter as long as I have kind of a like the foot shape. Do they have nails? No, but we can give it a toenail if we want. Why not? Why not give it a little toenail right there? It's kind of funny looking. You don't have to give your toad or your frog a toenail if you don't want to. But there you go, right? We have a frog now, right? We've popped up a frog sitting kind of like it's almost doing like a I don't even know, like a little squat It's like squatting, waiting to jump, kind of just staring at us, waiting, which is kind of cool. I think this is good enough for this one. What do you guys think? You can't answer, so we're gonna move on. All right, you can do more rendering here, of course. All right, we're gonna do one more on a stick. Okay, so we're drawing the stick first, kind of like this. It's like a big old stick coming out of the ground. And then we're gonna have okay, now I'm thinking, what's the frog doing? Okay, the frog is gonna be gripping onto this thing and kind of hanging on the side because this is the top of the stick and it's gonna be on the side of the entire thing right here, right? So I'm kind of just thinking, okay, what's the size of this thing? You can see it's already starting to grip kind of a little bit with this mark, a little bit with this mark. All right, so let's go in, let's find the head. All right, the head is like this shape. We have a center line going through here, the mouth, like that. And so now we know that this is the parallel line we're looking for. Okay. Give him kind of like a squinty pupil. Come down with the body. The body is pretty big, like we said, it's like a football shape. Then the arm right below the chin, shooting out like this. And this is where it's gripping onto the sticks. The hand. Like that. Another hand coming around. Like this is actually one of the feet. And then you have another hand up here, kind of doing something. Holding on tight. There you have it, right? You got a frog kind of getting ready to jump. And speaking of jumping, let's do another one. Right, this arm could be a little bit better here, but it's fine. You know, we're doing them quick here. Trying to just fill up our page here with some drawings from imagination. So the next one we're going to do is going to be a jumping frog. All right, let's do something that's kind of cool here. Just kind of scroll down. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to draw 3 frogs along this line, like that. Make it a little lighter though, like that. And the first frog is going to be down here, and we're going to draw them really quickly. So head, and this is going to be gestural because they're jumping. This is going to be a frog that's mid-jump. Right, the feet are jumping off this right here. See how fast I'm doing this, right? Elbow, hand, eye, mouth, back eye. Right, and that's it, right? We have the frog kind of looking like a frog. It's doing its thing. It's frogging. All right, it's jumping right here. And then there's going to be another one up here. Let's see. It's going to be like this, shooting through. The head up here. One eye, 2 eyes. Parallel lines like this. Parallel lines are going to be like this. Side plane, arm coming forward and then back out. It's kind of jumping like this. Hips, parallel planes like this still. It's the butt. Legs fully stretched now. Like that, right? We have this thing jumping. It's kind of cool. And then one more. This one's going to kind of have a new angle because when they jump, they go up and then they kind of reach really far and arch their spine because they start to fall. So this one's going to have more of like a feeling like this, like a curve. The head's going to be up here. The eyes, or sorry, the arm coming down. Getting ready to grab onto whatever it's landing on. Let's say there's a leaf over here, like this. Right, like this. Body curved like this, parallel line like that, eye, and then hip. And here the hip's gonna be going up and then back down. That. And this one's gonna come up like this. It's really arching and trying to reach. Right, isn't that cool? And just like that, we kind of animated or drew out this frog making a big jump for his life. Um, and over here, like I said, there's a big leaf, right? And he's trying to jump onto that, and that's attached to a stem or something. And over here, but he doesn't know there's a spider lurking, right? Um, the story can continue, right? But this is the goal here, right? A drawing from imagination, using a reference and then getting rid of it, and then allowing yourself to just kind of play with these. Um, this one was fairly quick. I'm trying to keep these videos fast and quick and to the point. I know that I talk kind of quick and we're doing these fast, but um, that's kind of the point in all this is that we need to see our art as something that we can just do and kind of get rid of and move on because otherwise we get bogged down by perfectionism, and perfectionism leads to being stuck. We don't want to be stuck. We want to flow our expression as much as possible, as quickly as possible, as fast as possible. So um, have fun with these guys. These are really fun. I like drawing frogs. I've drawn many frogs in my past. That's why I was able to just draw these and pop them out. I drew a lot of them in high school. I was really interested in what they looked like, especially like these ones that are kind of hanging out. So, have fun with these guys. These are really fun to draw, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much.